Good evening. My name is Eric. This is Raju. We have Josh and Andrew. And George, our fifth member of the group, no longer lives in the state, so I will be filling in for George tonight. He accepted a position at Madison, Wisconsin, and he submitted everything. We just will perform it without him. Anyway, our discussion tonight is on personal multimedia and communications. We'll begin with Raju on a bit of the history.
Actually, multimedia and communication in personal sectors started as a distinctive feature in the early 20th century, but it continued till 21st century. Now we started merging into together in home environment. So when we talk about the brief history of like different personal multimedia devices, like we see audio and visual device for capture or playback used either to name or on the go. So we want to talk about different devices for the home multimedia. So when we talk about TV, actually TV started in 1920 by Vladimir Zhurkin, demonstrated first electronic TV. And first TV transmission is done by BBC in 1930, and then in 1936 there are only 200 TVs worldwide. In 1969, 600 million people watched moon landing all over the world. But like in 1956, Robert Adler from Zenith introduced first TV remote control. It's called Space Commander. The next one is home stereo system. In 1940, Disney introduced the Fantasound first stereo sound system, because it has a drawbacks like a ping pong effect or wall effect, because sound was not clear all over the all around the room and other things. So then there was a new development in the audio system. It's called surround sound, which was introduced by Dolby music systems in 1970s. Then next comes video recording and video players, another thing. This might most people know. This was video playing is introduced by Betamax in 1975 by Sony. Betamax format introduced by Sony in 1975, and JVC introduced a new format in 1976. There was a big war going on between them, but ultimately VHS successfully commercialized the product. Then in DVDs were introduced in 1997, and in last 8 years there were 100 million DVD players sold in the United States. The latest phenomena in this thing is like personal video recorders or digital video recorders, like a TiVo and other thing. These are some of the multimedia devices. So then when it comes to personal communication devices, the first communication device, handheld communication device is like in the form of CB radios, which was introduced in 1945 as Class B. Actually CB means citizen band radio, which used first time for a communication at 460 and 470 megahertz. Then next primitive model of cordless phones introduced in 1980 in a 27 megahertz band. Because it has a lot of noise and so short distance problems, then the frequency range increased to 47 megahertz in 1986, and then subsequently increased to 900 megahertz in 1990. And ultimately, whatever we use the cordless phones now in the 2.4 gigahertz range in the digital spread spectrum. So then pagers were introduced in 1921 by Detroit Police Department. But there were only in 1959 there were only 3.2 million pagers worldwide. Today, like in 1991, it has 61 million pagers worldwide. Then next is cellular phones. The first cellular phone concept was evolved in 1947, and it took almost like 30 years to introduce the first commercial cellular phone service, which was done by AT&T in 1977. And now everybody cannot live without having a cell phone. That grown so much. So the next like communication device is a PDA, but PDA started as a organizer, digital organizer. It was introduced by Python in 1980s, but first like PDA as a portable computer introduced by Apple, like Newton introduced by Apple in 1993, and but modern day PDA introduced by Palm in 1996. Now Eric is going to talk about the home multimedia.
Hello. The home multimedia, what exactly is that? The home multimedia is basically multimedia. We have audio and visual combined together for basically, in this century, the first time ever. What we've got is 3 primary technologies that we are now using for our home multimedia. We have the audio component, the video component, and now the wireless component to allow the communication between these devices within our homes. The audio technology side began with like the phonographs, the radios, analog media, which was basically records, 8-track tapes, for those of you old enough to remember those, cassettes. And then we've moved into the digital media, which includes the compact discs and now the MP3 players. The video technology started with a lot of the 18 and 16 millimeter video projectors. Again, another age thing. If you remember wheeling the carts into the classroom, you had to put the big spools on. Yeah, okay, I'm glad those days are gone. Okay, and we also now have moved into having this media brought to our homes with the cable, DTS, and satellite programs broadcast directly to us. We also have DVD media where we can buy, rent, and record our own onto basically just a very small disc. Now that we have dual layer, we're up to over 9 gig of data on a single, just very small item. With the advent of the DVD recorders with hard drives, which is basically a TiVo, but now we have control and don't pay a subscription service for it. We can now record, control, do chase and play, skip all those pesky commercials. And also we now have the digital video recorders. I've just got my first one. I've been playing with that. I put a little SD chip into it. There's no tape. There's no nothing. I put an SD chip in, put it in HD resolution, and go. Fits in the palm of my hand. Also, we now have high-definition recordings and broadcasts. So now we can record all of these high-definition broadcasts in high definition in the comfort of our own home. Wireless technology, what we're using to glue it all together. It started with, I'm throwing wireless and infrared are fairly divergent, but I'm throwing it in for this. Usually, it's just a technology where it uses a light signal to control like your TV and so forth. That's why you always have to have the line of sight and point to it. But now the remotes are starting to move into the actual FM transmitter where it's an actual wireless radio a signal that's controlling this. And these computerized universal remote controls where they have a full digital readout, they're actually a handheld computer that sense and control every device in your house. And now we've also got now the 802.11x technology, 802.11b, G, N, that we use to home networking. We also use our cordless phones, use that same technology. That's actually where it started.